Hi everyone, it's Sienna, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about relationships in Korea. When I say relationships in Korea, I'm mainly going to be focusing on Koreans in a relationship and some of our relationship etiquette rules and just some fun things about Korean relationships that I've noticed is quite different from others. This is just like a very broad generalization that I've noticed. Granted, every single individual is different, so obviously communication is key. If you watched a lot of Korean dramas, especially based around romance, you might have already seen certain things that are quite different in the Korean dating world. So let's begin with how relationships work. If we are looking for someone to date, obviously dating apps are a thing. However, 소개팅 is more traditional way, I guess, of meeting people. 소개팅 essentially stands for when you are being introduced to someone. So you can often hear Koreans ask their friends, like, is there anyone cute, any like cute guys or cute girls around you that you can introduce me to? And then they would set up a 소개팅. So they would ask, do you want 소개팅? Do you want me to introduce you to someone? Or I've set you up on a nice date with this girl that I know and you can go to the 소개팅. Especially in university, that's when a lot of people are more open to dating because in high school, you want to focus on your education and studying, so people don't really have the time for these things. But when you go to university, everyone wants to meet new people and date around and see what's out there. So there are often a lot of 소개팅 available. After you have been introduced, usually there's like a talking stage called a sum. So sum stands for like we have something, but you can't really clarify what it is. So usually it is right before you kind of make it official. You're not really sure. Like you're obviously more than friends, but you are not official enough to call yourself boyfriend and girlfriend. So you go through a sum phase. This is essentially the talking stage. So when you go through all that and you end up dating and making it official, anniversaries are a big thing in Korea. There's so many holidays that are designed for specifically couples. So for holidays such as Pepero Day, that's 11/11, that's when couples, friends, and families, we give each other pepero. Then there's also days like Rose Day where you give a rose to your significant other. I'm gonna do a whole other video about all these special days because there's so many, and like I said, not every individual checks up on all these days. Obviously Valentine's Day is a big thing, and White Day is also pretty big. The White Day falls a month after Valentine's Day on March 14th, where people exchange gifts to their significant other. Just know that those are like the main ones for couples, and then you have Hug Day, Rose Day, Kiss Day, and all that stuff, but obviously not every single couple keeps up with it. But you'll see a lot of advertisements working around Korea like Rose Day, and then you get cheaper flowers, or you get bundles and special deals, and then if your girlfriend sees that it's a Rose Day or something, she might give you like some shade about you didn't get me flowers. So it's always good to be prepared for those days. When you think of anniversaries, you might just think of the 1-year anniversary, which is most commonly celebrated among couples. However, in Korea, we keep track of 100 days, 200 days, 300 days. We go by the 100 mark. Every single couple is different. I personally don't like to keep up with all the different days because it just gets too much, but there's a lot of couples that celebrate 300 days and 100 days and keep going on after that. I'm gonna get into it later, but there's an app where you can use to keep track of all these things. And another popular holiday among couples is Christmas. So in Western cultures, Christmas is usually celebrated with couples and families, so it's a very family holiday. But in Korea, Christmas is mostly for couples. You'll see a lot of couples going on staycations, a lot of lights. So usually couples celebrate Christmas together. It's a major holiday here. It's so hard to book hotels around Christmas time. As for PDA, among Korean couples in Korea, PDA stands for Public Displays of Affection. You will not see a lot of couples like snogging each other or anything like that. You'll get a lot of stares. Holding hands, putting your arms around each other, and small pecks are fine, but if you do anything more, you'll get a lot of dirty looks from like the older generation of like ajummas or ajashis. However, couples will let you know that they are a couple just by, you know, how they dress, or they're very like touchy with each other. Holding hands and like hugging, that's completely fine. Every once in a while, you'll see some couples that kind of overdo it and you're like, it just makes you uncomfortable. But that's everywhere you go. I feel like too much PDA makes me uncomfortable. Now I'm gonna get into a pretty controversial topic, is paying for dates. When you are in your talking phase, or when it's like the first date, then the girls do kind of expect the guy to pay. I think that's pretty much everywhere you go in the world. I watch a Korean variety dating show where different couples send them their concerns and ask for advice for a team of panels, and they just give them their advice. And surprisingly, quite a few of them have to do with dating expenses. Maybe they'll have a boyfriend that's very calculative, where you go out to eat and stop by the convenience store to pick up like a chewing gum, and then later on you'll get a message being like, you owe me $2.78, and then the girl's like, I don't know what to do, it's kind of stressful. And then the panels just talk about how like that is just too much for couples to do. So people aren't really calculative when you're dating, and when you're in your early talking stages, feel like it is a turnoff for guys to like pay it and then ask for the money back later, which kind of do happen. But the major rule that we go by here is couples will go out, and then the guy will pay for lunch, and then the girl will pay for dinner later on, because there's just so many things to do here. You don't just go to a restaurant and then go home. You go to a restaurant, you go to a cafe, and then for nighttime you like go to all these different restaurants. So you'll take turns paying, is what most people do. And when you're dating long term, there's no really wins or losses in that. Like what goes around comes back around. So people tend to not really be so calculative about that. When this issue expands, a lot of couples actually end up making a separate couple bank account. Just open up a bank account together, and you put money in it every month, and you use that for vacations or for food if you're going out. But this is also a very taboo subject, because although it seems like a good idea, in the same dating show, and from what I hear from my friends that have made it because they thought it would be a good idea in the beginning, they have said that sometimes when you are going on a trip and the guy will pay for the gas with the couple's account, and then the girl's like, okay, and then he would fill up a full tank where you don't even drive that far, and then the guy's like, but like we're driving together, so obviously we would have to take the money out of our account. So things like that, where you don't really know the line, and then it gets really hard to feel like you're treating each other out because you're putting in money all together. And I get that it's a good idea if you go out to eat often, but some days when you want to treat the other person, there's no like line. Unless you set clear boundaries, I feel like that would be very hard to manage, because it is your money too, and it is their money too. That's a very controversial topic. A lot of people love having a joint account, a lot of people don't, but I just feel like when it comes to making an account together, unless you're married, you never know what's going to happen, so you always need to be super cautious about that. So I don't want to say that Korean girls or even girls in general, that they expect someone else to pay, but it's just, if you go out on a date, obviously it would be bad if you're the one paying all the time, but if you take turns, I feel like that balances it out. Another popular thing that couples do is there's a lot of couple apps in Korea. I think one of the most frequently downloaded apps that my friends use is Between. I've actually never been on this app, but I would want to. I don't know, there was a time when I really wanted to, but my boyfriend isn't Korean, so I didn't really know how to go about that. But basically, it's the messenger app for couples. It's just you and him, and you can decorate your feed together, and every time you take pictures on a date, you can upload that to the app for you to go back later on, and the app keeps track of how many days you've been together, when are your anniversaries coming up. So it helps you stay alert of all of your important days and celebrations together, and I do think it's a very cute idea. My friend used it a long time ago. She kind of showed me how it works, and it was really cute. I specifically like the idea of being able to upload pictures together on that feed, so it's like you don't need to make a separate album or anything like that. There's so many different apps available here for couples to use specifically, but an app that you will for sure need in Korea is KakaoTalk. If you're not aware, it's a really big messenger app in Korea, but nowadays you can exchange locations, you can send money, you can request money. There's so many things that you can do on this app. I use it every single day for my work and my friends, and it's just a very convenient app to have. So even if you don't have any of the other couple apps, you will for sure have KakaoTalk if you live in Korea. You can exchange like photos and videos there as well, and you can set up a profile picture. You can even do a little countdown or how many days you've been together with your boyfriend on your profile. I mentioned KakaoTalk because communication is key to a point where we are called clingy, but to us it's like very normal for us to talk all the time and to check up on each other, like, did you eat, did you get off work, how is work throughout the day? If you don't respond, then that's like a bad sign that that person isn't really into you. So you know the common rules in like Western cultures where you want to give them some time, you don't want to come off too strong. That doesn't really exist in Korea. After you go on a date, if it was good, there's no like waiting game. You are supposed to check up on that person, and if you don't, then it gives them the idea that you're not very interested. So you don't want to do that. Keep checking up on them, like, how are you? How did you sleep? Good morning and good night texts are crucial, especially if you go out with your friends. The very last subject that I'm going to touch on is planned proposals. You might think, like, planned proposals, what is that? That's what I was kind of shocked about too, but obviously this is not the dating phase. This is after when you are more serious. In Korea, planned proposals are very, very common. Like, I've talked to a lot of married people and they always said that I thought I was gonna get married without him proposing, but then he proposed last minute. And I didn't really understand what they meant because I thought you're supposed to propose and then get engaged and then get married. But in Korea, the guy and the girl will sit down and be like, I think we should get married. I think so too. And then they will slowly, naturally meet their parents and plan the wedding. And once the date is approaching, the guy will usually propose. I'm not saying all couples do this. Some couples, it is a surprise, and they usually do like the hotel thing where you decorate a hotel and you ask them to marry them. More common than you think for couples to talk about a marriage in a serious manner and then plan a date and then they do the proposal. So there's surprisingly a lot of proposal businesses too. For a while, this one method of proposing was so popular that it was every single day on my feed I would see that. The guy would like hire this business online and then they would come and decorate their car trunk, and then when they get home the guy would be like, oh, can you open the trunk up for me? And then the girl would go back, open the trunk, and there'll be flowers and designer bags and then a message that says, will you marry me? I think that was just really interesting to hear when some of my friends that already are married and they were planning their wedding, they were like, I'm just waiting for him to propose. But yeah, I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm gonna end it right here. What do you think about some of these Korean relationship etiquette rules and all these interesting facts about Korean relationships? Let me know some things that are quite unique to your own country. Don't forget to leave a like to this video and subscribe to my channel for more videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!